back to the uncut, the uncut, unedited, perhaps uneducated, and certainly unprepared translation of the Tanya, the book of Jewish mysticism and Hasidus. It's the central book of Chabad Hasidus, and its detractors, the detractors of Chabad Hasidus, call it the little red mind control book of Chabad. I don't really like that because every group has its own little mind control thing. There's the Nefesh HaChaim is the mind control book for the Litvaks, and Mao Zedong's Book of Sayings is the the classic little red mind control book for Chinese communists. However, the Tanya is a weighty book. It is perhaps one of the greatest books ever of Jewish spirituality, and it's a worthy read by every Jew, regardless of Chabad, Hasidim, and normal people alike. Okay, so now it says, Ach afal bikein amru tfila o shar bracha b'lo kavana hen kaguf b'lo neshama perush ki kamo shekol habruim shebolam hazeh sheyesh lehem guf v'neshama shem nefesh kol chai v'ruach kol basar ish v'nishmat kol asher ruach hayim ba'pav mikol Bale Chayim, V'Hashem mechaya et kulam, u'mahave otam me'ayin liyesh tamid ba'or v'chiyut shemashpia behem shegam haguf hachomri v'afilu avanim v'afar adomem mamash yesh bo or v'chiyut mimenu yitbarach. Where's the end of the sentence? Okay, what in the world is he saying? Okay, let's translate. Scratch. Here we go. We were talking about how if you say the Shma, all you need to say is the first pasuk, the first verse of the Shema. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one, with the proper kavana, intent. And again, the Baal HaTanya didn't say what it is. What it is very clearly spelled out in the Code of Jewish Law already, and that is that when I say the Shema, the credo of the Jewish faith, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one, I have in mind that I am accepting the absolute oneness of God, and I'm accepting the yoke of the mitzvot, of the commandments of God, and the yoke of the kingdom of heaven. Now these words are lousy translations for wonderful concepts. Lousy translations, the yoke, it sounds like a burden, it sounds like a hassle, it sounds like something that I really don't want to do. And the truth is, oftentimes, I don't want to do a mitzvah. I don't want to go to shul. I don't want to put on tefillin. And I certainly don't want to help any little old ladies across the street. I'm sorry. I've been beaten up enough by little old ladies in my lifetime that I just, they got their umbrellas and their purses with all that stuff in it, and it hurts. Okay, so maybe I'm not, maybe taking a little old lady by the arm and saying, I'm going to help you across the street, boom, is not the right way to do it. You say, do you need some help? Okay. So otherwise, I don't want to do a mitzvah. Okay, I don't really care. I don't care about shaking the lulav. It's crazy, right? I mean, walking around, it's like a voodoo thing. Walking around with a lemon and a palm branch 7 times and singing, it's just a little unusual. However, I do it. You know why I do it? I do it because I'm a believing person, and that's what my congregation does. And I believe that there's some kind of, I believe in God, and He said do it, so I do it. I don't really want to do it. And sometimes when I don't want to do it, when I start doing it, and I say, hey, this makes no sense whatsoever, but it's actually, I'm really getting into it. Okay, that's also, I must admit the truth. So how do we get to this? Oh yes, so the Alter Rebbe said that you have to have intention just for the first verse in the Shema and for the first blessing in the 18 benedictions in the silent prayer. Even though that's not the Psak Halacha for most of the world, the Alter Rebbe paskins that if you don't have the proper intention, like you're thinking about whom you're standing before in the first of the 18 benedictions of Magen Avraham in the Amidah, in the silent prayer in the Jewish service, composed by Moses, no less, that you go back and you compete. And what is the intention? The intention is that before every word you think, who am I standing before and who am I speaking to? I'm speaking before the King of Kings, the one and only God. I'm saying Baruch Atah. I'm saying to you, God, the one who gives me life. And I feel a sense of fear before Him, and I feel a sense of maybe even love before Him. And in that way, and then if I find that I just said the whole 42 words in the first benediction, If I said all of those 42 words and I was thinking about business or lunch or some chick in the street or who knows, anything, but besides the words of the prayer, even without some great fear or awe before each word, with just a basic appreciation of the meaning of the words that I'm saying, and that in general I'm saying it to God, that's enough. But if I didn't, according to the Alter Rebbe, the author of the Tanya, the first Lubavitcher Rebbe who wrote the Tanya 250 years ago, he said that I have to go back and repeat it and say it with at least reading the words and understanding what I'm reading, and in general that I'm saying it to God. However, the rest of the 18 benedictions, I could just move my mouth and think about whatever, because the point is the action. And he explained that in the Tanya for 2 days ago. He explained what's the action. It's because the point is the doing. Sometimes the point is the thinking, but for saying the Shma, except for the first verse, it's just doing. I can just say the Shma, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your possessions. I don't have to even think about what I'm saying. I could be thinking about something else. If I said the words, if I moved my mouth, just the motion of moving my mouth is enough to do the mitzvah. It's better, of course it's better to do it by thinking about it. Of course it's better. But we're talking about the minimum requirement that I don't have to say it over again. And he said, why? It's because they're drawing something that I don't understand very well, but I translate it. I don't understand what I translate sometimes, about drawing the vital soul, drawing the infinite light of God down into the vital soul to raise it back up through action. And in that way, it's fixing the whole world. But the point is the action of the vital soul behind the actions of my mouth. That's prayer. So that's the minimum for serving God is that I'm doing the action, and it's better. There's certain key places where I have to actually think about it and think and know what I'm doing, be aware of what I'm doing. But if I do the action, it's not any great height, but I got through the door. That's what he's saying. Now today he's saying that even though we said that the prayer and other blessings without intention are like a body without a soul, still, and he says, what does that mean? What does it mean that prayer without intention is like a body without a soul? This is true. I may have done the mitzvah. I may not have to repeat the mitzvah again and do it over again, but it would be more like a body without a soul. So, and he explains according to Chassidus. He says that all of the creations in this world that have a body and a soul, and the soul, the neshama, is the soul of all life, and the spirit of all flesh, the spirit of every man's flesh, and the neshama of everything that has a life, the force of life within it. Everything that breathes, from all of the animals that God gives life, the whole Balei Chayos, anything, including man, everything that possesses life, not just man or animal or plants, or even certain stones. Or I guess even stones are considered something that has within it a certain level of neshama. Everything has a certain level that's coming from God, who gives life to everything. Meaning, for the stone, it's keeping it in existence. And we know that there's geological formations. They move. They're not considered life, but there's certain in the life in the sense of its atoms with electrons spinning around. That it has some kind of a force to keep it in existence. That's God gives life to everything, and he brings everything into being, something from absolute nothingness. God brings everything into being something from nothing. From absolute nothingness, the force, what we call God, is the force that brings everything into being. That there was no atom, and then there is an atom. That there is no star, and then there is a star. that there is no universe, and then by God's will there is a universe. That is Jewish belief. That creation ex nihilo, creation out of absolute nothingness. That happens constantly according to Tanya, in the light and the life that God bestows to everything, where even the physical body and even the stones and the dirt of inanimate things, that they really have within them the light and the life from God. May He be blessed. And they won't go back to absolute nothingness because of God's will. Then even though there's no comparison whatsoever between the light and the life force that illuminates with it, I mean God's light and in the body, and between the light, the aspect of light and the life force that illuminates into the neshama, he's saying there's a big difference between the force that vivifies the body and the force that vivifies the neshama. There's a big difference. The neshama is the soul of all being, and the body is something that is illuminated in this world. So the neshama is something that is a direct emanation from godliness, and the body is something that hides that emanation. So even though there's a similar force as keeping them in existence, the Baal Tanya says we can't really compare the two. This is the Tanya for last Friday, the 22nd of Adar. Thank you very much.